Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 174. I'm your host, as always. I'm Dan, and I'm joined by my co-host. It is Ruby the dog.
Bark, bark, bark. Bark, 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 Dan.
If you're on the video podcast, Samson's got his new dog, Ruby, who's 3 years old, and we don't know what breed she is. So
mini Australian Shepherd.
Oh, mini Australian Shepherd. Nice. I used to live with a million. I used to live with a mini Australian Shepherd in my last place. One of my roommates had one, and it was fantastic. Great dog.
Yeah, she is quite lovely.
Oh, bless. It's not been that long, right? It's
been like 4 days.
It's been like 4 days. Wow, that's incredible. And she's been good-tempered? She's been okay?
Oh, yeah. She's great. It's like if you want to just relax, she's down to relax. If you want to go, get her hyped up, she's down for that. It is very icy outside, so I've thrown the tennis ball a couple times, and she runs like a cartoon character, like in place real quick, and then slides at the end. So she's not too into it.
You're gonna have to get this on video and put it in the Discord. we got to see this. We're all for like dog videos and dog pics all the time. I mean, we do have a new channel in our Discord for that.
We do.
Get into that. How's your week been? How's things?
My week's been great. It's been a lot of Ruby, not a lot of VR time, but I did get in a little bit. Got that Quake night in, and boy, oh boy, it was fun. I think we ended up, gosh, I don't remember how many people. Squashy was there, TP was there, DTN was there, Void. Gosh, I'm forgetting some people. I know it.
A lot of people.
It was great. Hack was there. Yeah, it was great. It was a great time. We had a blast. We're going to do it again in March. So if you're interested, come on down on the Discord. There's going to be another Quake 3 night. Hopefully 2. Hopefully we can get a midweek and a weekend one in.
Yeah.
And if you're in Europe, come on down and speak up, because I'm down to get an afternoon one in too. I'll double up, we'll get a...
Yeah, it's that good. It's that good.
It's so much fun.
Very, very, very good. Yeah, I got a little bit of VR in. I got a little bit of VR in myself. I've been rummaging the Quest sales. There's a sale on right now. A lot of like shovelware in the sale. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's a big sale. I got 2 games. I got Fracked, and I bought Bone Lab as well.
Wow.
I didn't have that game, and I was like, you know what? This is something that's obviously been out for a while now. I think it came out on the Quest 2. I think towards the end of that lifestyle, the lifespan of the Quest 2. But I was just intrigued by it. I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time to jump in. It wasn't a massive sale for Bone Lab. It was still.
I did notice that it was about over 20, right?
Yeah, it was still about maybe $25, $27 USD, shall we say? I'm ballparking there because obviously on the Canadian dollar over here, but
Monopoly monies.
It doesn't even exist. It's diminishing every single day. But yeah, I picked that up.
Friggin' loonies.
Hardly got into Bone Lab. I started it off and actually ran into a couple bugs straight away, which had forced me to kind of restart the game. So I haven't actually jumped into it, but I played a lot of Fracked.
The little I know, that must be a tough one to restart there.
It is a tough one to restart. Yeah, it's the intro scene is not for the faint-hearted. Let's just say that. Not for the faint-hearted, but I won't spoil it because I completely forgot about it, and it was quite an eye-opener. But yeah, I had to do it 2 or 3 times, but which made it even worse. But anyway, I played a lot of Fracked though, which we'll get into in part 3, where we get into what we've been playing. Bit of housekeeping, Samson, before we get into the news and this whole podcast. It's going to be a big one today, I think. We've got the Discord, as we've already mentioned. The link's in the description. We had a few people join in recently who came in, so links below. Just it's free to join. Samson, we had our Walkabout Thursdays.
Yeah. Dan, not only did we get Walkabout Thursdays, but Dan, somebody from the community, we had a few people offer to take on the Walkabout tournaments. And so Healing Entree, who made an incredible graphic. So if you're in the Discord, hop over to the Walkabout Stuff channel and check it out because it's incredible. Combines our aesthetic for the podcast with the Walkabout courses that are of that week and the dates and when it's incredible. It's
a professional look.
It's
it's Samson. I feel like you've been shown up there. He's done a great job.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's not to be shown up. It's just clearly someone with some talents has taken over here.
Yeah.
And anyway, let me get to it though, because season 8, week 1. Do you mind if I do the Walkabout tournament now? Because that's what I'm just doing.
Of course not. Continue.
There's 2 courses, one easy, one hard, 2 modes for each course, score mode and race mode. And this one runs until February 24th by midnight Eastern time. Get those scores in. Week 1 courses are easy, Viva Las Vegas, and hard, Gardens of Babylon. And if you don't have the courses, don't fret. Don't fret, my friend, because you can come on down to the Discord. You can at Walkabout Players, I think. It's something along those lines.
Something like that. There's also a channel that you could just go into. And
say, hey, I'm interested in joining the Walkabout tournament. I don't have these courses. Anybody want to play around sometime? Guarantee somebody will play.
Oh, for sure.
Guaranteed.
And because you can have guest courses.
In appropriate time zones.
Right. So if you're listening to this as this show's going live on Friday the 21st, then you've still got the weekend to kind of put these scores together, and then you can send it to. Well, I guess you'll have to go on the Discord and send it to Healing Entree. So an encouragement to go on the Discord if you want to, obviously, partake. And then we also have the Walkabout Thursdays, which we were actually talking about. And
precisely,
that's every Thursday for the next couple more weeks or so. Me, Samson have been in it, and obviously we've had other people. We had a big group. We had 6 people on last Thursday, and we also played. What did we play? Arizona Modern.
Modern. Yeah, Jenna's favorite course.
And let's be honest, the podcast hosts, me and you, just came in and destroyed everybody, to be honest.
You see, I was going to say they let us win, Dan.
No, we played our A game. We both got the same score. I think the last hole I was 1 shot in the lead, and then I think you got the shot on me on that last hole, and we tied it. So we both won.
Yeah.
But it was a fun time.
I had you on 16. You hole in one it, and I 3. So
yeah, that's true. It was a fun time. It was a really good one.
That's wild.
It was a really good one. So yeah, come on down. They've got lots of stuff going on in the Discord, even if it's just a chat. I see a lot of people talking in there all the time, and it's always great to see. If you like us so much, then come on down. You don't have to do this, but you can throw us $1 at patreon.com/ Let's Talk Oculus, and you just get rid of the in between that URL that I just said. The link's in the description as well that you can see. And then finally, as a lot of people know by now, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you can leave us comments in the Discord. You can leave us comments on the YouTube channel. You can leave comments on Spotify if you're listening on that, where 4 people have made comments recently. Samson.
Just pouring in.
They're just pouring in. We had a lot of comments, and they're all from last week's episode for LTO 173, where we went through Horizon. We tried it. We gave it our best shot, and I had some fun. I had some fun in some places. But anyway, you can listen to that podcast if you want to know more. First comment here, Samson, is from Jen Bread 74. He says there are no good VR podcasts anymore. I'm glad to see this. I guess that's in relation.
Does that include us?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Maybe you're saying we are the good VR podcast. There's a few good VR podcasts out there, Genbred. Just depends on what you're into, but we appreciate the love and support. Samson, you want to go for the next comment?
Yes, I will. From Matt, who enjoyed the episode. I'm also not a fan of Horizon. For as much as Meta pushes this app, I wish there was a decent content. I added an in there. I tried Alien Rogue Incursion. As a fan of the series, I was kind of let down by the game's graphics. Hopefully they'll update it in the future. Had a blast playing Walkabout last Thursday. Cheers. And that is one of the complaints I've heard
With the game?
From the Quest version.
Yeah, it's not even, apparently it's not even the one where, like, if you've not tried the other two, it's not that bad. You know, it is what it is. But it might be. I haven't played the game either. But I'm wondering if it's similar to Metro, where it doesn't look that good, but then eventually you get used to it. But I'm not too sure. But it looks like they are putting out some updates soon. Either I can't remember if it was this week or next week, but they're pushing a few updates, quite a lot of updates actually, and one of them was to try and get the game closer to its next gen ones. It actually was this week, because I remember seeing a comment of someone was like, "Why didn't they just delay the game another week and put it with the new update or something like that?" You know, I don't think it's as easy as that, but yeah, day one patches are so normal nowadays. But yeah. Let us know, Matt, if when you get the update, comment, in there, and let us know how you're playing, how you're liking it. I'm not going to play that game because I feel like the spider-liked aliens are too much for me. And
join in again for another Walkabout night.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a comment from Tyler. He says, I voiced that I think that it would be smart for developers to create worlds that mock their games. Like Alien Rogue Incursion could make a world that mimics the game and gives users a demo of what the game is, and have things in the world promoting the app. And maybe even hire marketers to go around and promote it. I think this is a fantastic idea, to be honest. I think about something like the Office world that we did, where you just go and you can go into the set of the office. Yeah, it has like little mini games you can kind of take it or leave it, but it's just fun to be in that set. Like I said, if I'd love to be in like the Seinfeld set or something, just to kind of see how it is, just to be in there. Even if I'm just in there for like 5-10 minutes and just going, oh, this is cool. That's enough to kind of get me interested, and I think that was a great suggestion. Like, it doesn't need to have like a world that mimics the game in terms of like there's like demo things in there. It'd just be like, oh, you're in the spaceship or something like that, and you're in like maybe the main cabin. Yeah, so you're just in there and just kind of can walk around and such, and nothing's gonna happen, but like it's just enable maybe promotional content and such. It's really interesting to hear. I mean, Samson, can you read the next comment, because this kind of links perfectly?
Yeah, I can. From the Sync God. What developers need to do is create a world within Horizon Worlds that showcases their game with trailers, games, and a storefront where if you like what you see, it'll take you to the store page where you can purchase the game. That seems like a pretty good idea as well.
Yeah, that kind of is basically almost the same kind of idea, right? And yeah, a great idea. I'm not sure why they haven't done it. Even with their own like kind of apps like Batman, I'm surprised they didn't do that.
When you go to the store page for Batman, it takes you it does take you into Gotham, which is cool.
Which is really cool, yeah. And they've got Horizon, they're pushing it so much they could take it a step further, right? I like how you said Sync God. I read that as Snake God, but
yeah,
I
you
guess...
might be right.
Yeah, fair enough. But anyway, I appreciate all the comments. As always, keep them coming. It's always great to hear what everyone else thinks, and also what you're playing and all that stuff as well. Samson, let's get into the VR news, because we have quite a few things. Like, we have 4 items on the list, but a couple of big ones to say. So the first one actually is a really, really disappointing one, and a really sad one to kind of start the show.
Why don't you read it?
Okay. Toast Interactive, makers of Richie's Plank Experience and the hit title Max Mustard, has unfortunately closed down, with the majority of their staff made redundant. They did put out a press release where they confirmed that they'll be still working on those 2 titles, providing it with like some updates and such like that. But that's about it pretty much. And then that was a press release, but then it was interesting because on their Reddit and I believe on their Facebook they posted a much bigger kind of like description of what they think happened and such. And you sent me this in the morning, actually, quite early in the morning, and I woke up and I read it and I was like really sad. So I'm actually just going to read it for everybody here because it is just really interesting. So they say Max Mustard is made for the OG Mario generation first and foremost. So we should have made it look less like a kid's game. We wanted people to feel happy when we played it, so we went with a happy vibe. Either way, we put our hands up to say, yes, we could have done better there. Unfortunately, what also quite hurt Max Mustard is it received 0 store presence and forced to launch at a low month. We assumed that if it scored a high user rating, it would appear on the most important top-rated category on the store, completing its discovery loop. With its 4.9 for a few months and 100 reviews, it should have been at the number 1 spot of the top rated, but it never appeared. Apparently, it's the algorithm wasn't in it. It wasn't in the other category. Hidden gems, no. Made in Australia, no. Nothing. It was heartbreaking. One of the biggest budget VR titles, highest consumer ratings, Game of the Year finalist, 0 store presence. We brute force a short stint of ridiculous cross promo discounts with Richie's pack experience as the one that has like 90% off. And full price sales have increased slightly then, proving the store presence is critical. The top rated category is now removed from the store, so we've given up trying to get to the store, discoverability. It sounds like I'm hating on Meta. I admit I'm furious about this oversight, but overall, I'm grateful for Meta creating such an amazing headset at a great price. It's the only reason we got here in the first place, and they've accelerated the industry and now own a major market share and head start for their efforts. I just think that was heartbreaking to hear. I was actually really sad about it, and especially because we have spoken to Richie on this podcast. He's been on the show when Max Mustard was coming out early last year, and he's just like a very positive, full of life kind of guy. And I kind of read like I use, you know, when sometimes we read something and you've got the voice in your head. I've got his Aussie voice.
Yeah, you read it as him. Yeah.
I kind of read it as him, and I was just thinking about that as he was. I'm assuming he's the one who wrote that, to be honest. And yeah, I was just very sad. I've been kind of like a little bit down on that all day. I was just thinking about it quite a lot because I think
Max Mustard is so good.
That's what I mean, right? And I think because we've had a lot of these closures and redundancies and such, but I think this one hits a bit more home because obviously, like I said, with the connection that we've had with it, they've been great. They helped us a lot with sending them the codes. We also gave us a little goodie bag as well, which was really fun. But all that said, they made like a ridiculously fantastic platformer and probably one of the best platforms on VR. Like it rivals stuff like Astrobot Rescue Mission on PSVR, and it rivals Moss and such. It's really sad to see. Like really sad to see. It shows you, like, in a way, it's kind of disheartening for like what hope has some indie kind of developers have when they have a really good app, and even that, it doesn't stand the test of time. Now, obviously, that it's not just a store. There's probably like other things potentially. I mean, they blame it on a little bit on themselves in terms of making it too much looking like a kid's game, and I can kind of see that. But at the same time, you look at a game like Astrobot, right? Rescue Mission, that advertises a pretty much a kid's game, but yeah.
I mean, that one even caught a lot of people off guard.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. What did you think about it when you saw it? How did you feel?
Felt a lot of the same sentiment as you. It really is. It was just like gut wrenching, you know. It's one after another, really. But this one did feel a bit more personal, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And especially because I really love this game.
Yeah, you finished it with like quick time. I think we got the code and you finished it within like 2 or 3 days, if that.
Dan, I played like a little bit one night just to get a sense of the game. The next day I finished it in my one sitting.
It was 2 days, yeah. Or 1.5 days, shall we say.
Yeah.
Madness.
It's incredible.
It's a great game, and I really hope that they do well. Even though that the team's gone and such, I hope the game continues to do well if possible, because it's such a great game. And it's sad to see, because the store has been one of the biggest complaints by a lot of developers. We've had a few people who have been on the show as well, and I've seen on Twitter as well, or X or rather, and they're posting like the one thing they want is like they want a good store. They want a good store and all that stuff. As Adam as well from Rezel, who we had on the show, he said the same thing as well. It seems like the store is a big problem, and also Zimtok, who's on Twitter, formerly from the F Reality podcast, which is now ended as well. He tweeted out. He said, I can't remember the exact tweet, so I'm like paraphrasing here, but he put up 2 pictures, and he put the Meta store up when you first go onto it, and they put the PlayStation store up. And I think it was something like, who would you recommend? Which headset would you recommend? And if you just show the storefronts, Quest has like just just some random stuff in there, and some bloatware, where the PlayStation one is just like hard hitters. And granted, most of those games are also on Quest, but when you go into the store, you don't know that, right? You don't know that. And it's interesting, because we will never have that lens, because we're so deep into this whole industry and how it all works. But just from like someone who's just got a Quest and really excited, like, how do they know about all the titles? Like, it feels like a lot of it is on kind of us and content creators and such, and people on Twitter and such, and word of mouth.
Honestly, do not watch that stuff.
No, exactly. So that's a niche within a niche within a niche here. So yeah. Really sad to see. I hope Meta do. I know they're kind of in a way been like, with their recent press releases and such, feeling like they're doubling down on what their store the way it works in terms of the algorithm that they said. But I hope that they make like a little bit of a U-turn and kind of change it up a little bit. It's just weird. Like, surely that, I would think of something like the App Store on the Apple phone, on the iPhone. Like, even that, there's so much bloatware in there now, obviously. A little bit still a bit more curated, but still there's so many apps in there now. There's so many apps, but they still do a pretty decent job in showcasing apps. They have like app of the day in a way, and they have like some of the developer showcases and such, and they have specific apps or winners of design awards and all that stuff, right? Like, I think Meta needs to step up. Steam's really good for it too.
Steam's got like bloatware and stuff, and a lot of
course,
crap. But they got the game of the day. They got a lot of sales. They
highlight a lot of Steam do a great job as well.
Certainly you can sort easily by so many different things.
Yeah, Steam do a really good job as well. I think Meta really got to step up. To be honest, I think this is one thing that they really need to address. But anyway, so yeah, really sad news. I hope all of them who did lose their jobs and just the company in general are okay. Moving on, Meta have been down and dirty with some updates. Nothing to the store, but they are coming out with V74. Before we get into V74 here, I recently just noticed I can finally hide apps on my Quest.
Very good.
Went in and I hid so much crap that I've had downloaded for ages. So it already looks better. There's still 110 games or so installed, but it already looks better. Horizon Worlds was one of the things.
Still no folders.
Still no folders, but we have a few good things. So let's go into them. So we've got web shortcuts in the library. This is actually really important, because now stuff like Netflix, for example, you can watch in the browser, and they've got their own theater mode, which is good. But as I've discussed on the podcast before, like the audio doesn't sound as good as using something like spatial TV, which is really odd. But that works. Apple TV, those kind of things, they all work in the browser absolutely fine. It's not as great as a native app, because it's sometimes a bit finicky if you're like skimming across like the TV show or something like that. But overall, it's fine. It works for now. But you can finally just save that rather than having it a bookmark. You can just save that app onto your app library. So you can have like Netflix, and it just saves the app on there.
It's pretty convenient.
Very, very convenient now. Do you think you'll use it much now because it's just less friction? No.
I
Nice.
don't use that. I don't use that too often.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, that's cool. I think I will add the Netflix one on there. Just I don't think I will use it that often either, but it'd just be more accessible. Obviously, you can have
Yeah,
the Spotify one as well.
we're gonna be doing walkabout nights, and you're just gonna be watching Netflix there.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess not. But it'd be cool if you could obviously try and watch it together. But I know that's got some issues in itself. But you can do it with the YouTube app at least. But yeah, like Spotify is another one that you can do that, and you can have it playing in the background, which is cool with the multitasking. Next thing is DisplayPort out to external displays. I think this is a big one for a lot of people. Not everybody, but like a specific type of people. Now, to cast your basically screen onto the TV, you can now just plug it in using a USB-C display port. So you can just plug it in.
Plug it in.
Yeah, and Meta says it's high resolution and low latency, and actually might be the perfect way for like content creators or just people trying to capture footage as well in terms of the latency. So yeah, it's actually a good thing. And also obviously just in general, when you're showing people off VR and you want it to be on the screen and you don't mind it wired, that's a good feature. And what also ties into that is the second thing, which is improved wireless casting reliability. So now they said they've significantly improved the reliability of casting it to the PC app, the website, or Google Cast TV devices as well. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is like a huge fix. It says it is, but obviously we need to test it itself. Yeah. But yeah,
who knows? Just words.
do you use this at all? Like I feel like
I use
you
it
would.
a lot.
Yeah. I
mean, I usually just cast it to my phone.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I would cast it to the phone too. Next thing is there's a system menu in Quest Link. So this is for PC VRs. Sam, I actually don't know what this is, to be honest. It's like a menu that pops up when you're in PC VR, essentially. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's similar to how in regular Quest has a system menu. The PC VR app has its own system menu, I believe.
Oh, I got it. Wait, there was no menu whatsoever before? I guess
I'm not sure what happened before.
I guess you use virtual desktop, don't you? But yeah, with Quest Link, I think you can now have like quick actions and such. So instead of, I'm assuming because I don't use PCVR, I'm assuming instead of just taking off your headset and doing it with a mouse, which feels silly. But anyway, that's now added. You can now minimize 2D.
The system menu. Oh, you know what? When you were in Quest Link, maybe the left Oculus button, the hamburger button, maybe that didn't work, and maybe that works now.
Okay, I got it. Minimize 2D apps are now shown, so you can now minimize basically 2D apps and then open it. That's pretty much it. The multitasking is not going to be experimental anymore, which I didn't realize was experimental, but it's always there. Multi-room space setup, which seems really interesting. Now you can basically scan your whole house.
It's big. It's 2-room big.
It's two, yeah. This will be good for you, I guess. You could scan your entire house and play some.
Yeah, you think I could do multiple floors?
Probably. I guess maybe if you could go up the stairs and scan the stairs and such. Like I feel like they'll have to be connected. You'll have zombies coming down the stairs and such. I don't know if it can do like height.
It's levitation, Holmes.
I don't think it'd be able to do that. I think it's just like flat surfaces only. Travel detection has been added when you're like in a moving vehicle. It just pops up rather than you having to like manually enable it. Night display. Do you ever use a night display at all in Quest? No, I've used it a few times, to be honest. It's very warm, but
yeah, so I do remember being yellow.
Yeah, it's very
yellow.
Like
a sepia or whatever.
So they said in V74 they've improved the consistency of the color, balance, white point, and warmth in pass-through experiences. Actually don't remember using it in pass-through, to be honest. And then spatial audio for 2D calling apps is now available for WhatsApp and Horizon calls. And then finally, you can report any crashes that the apps have. which is actually one that's been. I actually didn't realize it's not a thing, but it isn't a thing. If the app crashes, nothing happens. You just go back in the app. Now, when the app crashes, just like it does on like iPhone or whatnot, you'll have a little
Send a report.
Yeah, send and report, which goes to the developer probably, and potentially Meta. I don't know, and such. That is your V74 update that you'll get either today, either tomorrow, or maybe in 2-3 weeks' time, or you might not get it at all for a while. Who's to say? And some of these features might not come. Who's to say? Samson, any on those that list that is important? That's takes your fancy or anything, or was it pretty standard update?
I'm pretty tickled by a couple of them.
Oh, yeah. What tickles you?
Well, the improved wireless casting reliability, if that ends up being actually good and reliable, it's pretty big. It's sometimes annoying and cancels out. The multi-room space setup, that's also pretty cool, worth trying out in some games. It's probably all that's really tickling me.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
The DisplayPort's pretty good, but I don't usually record video.
It's important for some people. Yeah, that's a big one for some people, I think. Yeah. I mean, I don't really use the web shortcuts, the web to do much, but I think I only went on to as for Netflix and Apple TV recently when I was testing it out. But yeah, I appreciate that. That's what I actually really liked about the Spatial TV app is that, all the shortcuts were already there for you. So you could just log into them. So yeah, that's the only one I'd take from that. Moving on, 2 more quicker news stories. Action Hero, one of the best games that came out last year. It's a fantastic little indie title, a lot of fun. They've come out with a new update called The Cult of Darkness, which is basically a horror-themed level. They have, like, if you don't know Action Hero, each one of their levels is different types of movie sets, very, very much inspired by like real movies. You can kind of tell where they're kind of coming from if you're a big movie buff or anything like that. But yeah, really fun game, really like super hot kind of esque aspect to it, and a lot of comedy in there as well. It's really good. But yeah, I haven't hopped into it for a minute just because of my arm pain, so I can't really play this one because you're diving, ducking, and all that stuff. But Dodging. Yeah, Cult of Darkness, horror theme level. This is definitely one that I want to check out at some point once I can. They've also added a new arcade game mode, which basically allows players to replay certain levels. So the way it works, actually, for those of you who don't know, is that per each like level there's 5 scenes, and you got to work your way through each of the scenes, and basically each scene is a checkpoint. So once you get to scene 2, when you die, it just takes you back to the start of scene 2 rather than going back to the start and such. But it looks like now you can replay specific scenes, so you can like cherry pick and just try and boost your scores and such and try and get faster at it. Interestingly enough, this arcade mode is only available on Quest 3 and Quest 3S for some reason. Not coming with Quest 2. The Cult of Darkness is, but not this update. And
maybe it's a leaderboard thing? I don't know.
Maybe. I actually have no idea. And they've also said they've improved the visual effects and UI in the game as well. Samson, have you jumped into Action Hero at all? Or not?
Not yet.
You got to get in there. That's a fun game.
Yeah, does sound good.
It is great. The final, and it's not expensive either. Final news story, the non-Quest news story, shall we say. I just want to quickly point it out. Looks like the NBA app in Apple Vision Pro has been updated, and it just looks really cool. So now basically you can have the game running and you can watch the game, but then or maybe on just like on a big flat screen, but then in front of you on like a tabletop you have like a recreation of the court, and you can see all of the players on the court, and then like little 3D models essentially, so you can see how the play is running and such, and you can kind of watch it at different angles and such. And I think you can just replay it. And currently, if you have Apple Vision Pro and you're listening to this, if you have League Pass, which is the NBA subscription app, it just works. It just works for like select games right now, but then in the next season, they're planning to have every single game.
It does look pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I think with NBA, it's not like as fun as like looking at the F1 one that was there, where you know F1 like there's always so many angles where at least you can see exactly where everyone's on the track, right? Where in NBA,
Dan,
like you always know what's happening.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why NBA is coolest, I think, because you can just
Coolest.
see. Yeah, because you can see all the action at once. You can see all the like. Whereas you can't really see the whole racetrack at once, right?
Yeah, but that's why the F1 one's the coolest, because then
No,
you look down on your tabletop and you can see everything. So you can see where everyone's at, is what I'm trying to
but that's
say.
what you can see in the NBA. That's why it's the coolest.
Yeah, I think we have to agree to disagree here. I feel like F1 would be the coolest, but NBA is still cool too. You know, you can
Because
see the
it's
difference.
like you're at the game. You're just watching all the players right there
Yeah,
moving
yeah,
like
yeah.
they're tiny.
You know what
Like
I
they're
want,
tiny.
Samson? You know what I want? I don't even have an Apple Vision
Literally
Pro.
one F1.
No. In the NBA one, I would, or if they had like an NFL one as well, which would be the NFL one would be cool. The NFL one would be cool because you could see like the plays and you could maybe like it could be 3D on there and you could draw it up or something like that. That'd be fun. But it would be cool like how the NFL's done where they've like replaced the players with like Toy Story characters and such or whatnot.
Oh
It'd be
yeah,
fun if you could just like replace the NBA players with like a random theme, and then all of a sudden you have like the Avengers playing basketball. You can make your own.
Have they not? I feel like they did that with. Am I wrong? Is it only the NFL that's done it?
I don't know. I think it was only the NFL. I think it is. You might be
Yeah,
right.
definitely. All should. I've been thinking this for quite some time that
Oh yeah.
more sports leagues should license out their broadcasts to more. You'd get way more viewers, right? If you had your, I don't know, you just have way more avenues of getting your product out there, and you obviously they don't do it to everybody because they want to have some value to their product, right? They want to make sure that the broadcast is good, but at some balance, there's got to be some. I feel like there's a better balance in just being on these, just having one broadcast basically.
Yeah.
Right, you're missing, and I feel like they're starting to suckle that teat.
Starting. They're looking into it.
And it tastes good. Yeah, it tastes good. And because I agree. I watched some of that, and it's really good. And boom, you're getting a ton of kids with that just being on Disney or Nickelodeon or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think it'd be a fun time. Obviously, with the Apple Vision Pro, not a ton of kids are going to have that, but just in general, I think that's it's a good idea for sure. That's a good idea for sure. All right, Samson, that's all the news that we've got to talk about. In part 2, we're going to be talking about our main topic, so we will see you in then.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
All right, welcome back to part 2 for LTO 174. So, Samson, we obviously had last week's episode. We talked a lot about Horizon Worlds, and we did our review and all that stuff. And the direction it seems like what Meta's going in is social VR. It's free types of experiences. That's not obviously just going to be it, but it seems like that's what they're pushing right now. Horizon Worlds dominant. So, and then obviously with the Max Mustard news, with the Toast Interactive and such, and closures and store issues, there's lots going on. So the question is, Samson, are we worried about the Quest 4? Are we worried about the direction the next gen is going to be like? And what we're going to do is let's break this down into a few questions. So we're going to break it down to go into first what we want is going to be on the Quest 4, not like predictions, but just what we want to see, what we think Meta actually wants, and what we think Meta will actually do. So like we're going to put our CEO hats on and kind of think about what they actually realistically will do, and then we'll sum up our opinions and such. So
mine's not realistic. Mine's just what they should do.
That's fair enough. But yeah, this all comes like from, so there was a memo that got published and kind of got leaked as well with bars in a couple of weeks ago, and then there was the official one that got put out and such, and that was with the, Horizon Worlds or Bust was like the main headline from it basically this year, and it was that was their biggest push. And obviously we talked a lot about Horizon Worlds last week, so we probably won't talk about it as much this time, but let's go into the first thing for so let's say what we care about most for Quest 4, and maybe Samson, I start with you. What do you care about most for the next generation of VR?
Dan, I want the next generation of VR to have eye and face tracking.
Why?
So that way developers can start using it and developing for it and using ways that I can't even think of, because as proven, I'm not the creative type.
Foveated rendering is what you're trying to say, I think.
Well, that also, but I mean,
that's a big one.
More just used like in the apps, like ways like
subtle
ways, like Horizon using it to
UI.
get to the menus or social VR thing, lots of different ways.
Yeah.
Think of all the new types of puzzles that could exist with face and eye tracking. Like you could have to lick something.
Do you think? Okay, so in that case, though, would you think? I actually, we can talk about that later when we go into like what we think actually Meta will do. Ignore. Let's move on. So, okay, what else you want? Just give me your whole wish list here.
Well, it's got to sell the pancake lenses, still have a customizable head strap, and then ideally just lighter with either the same or longer battery life.
Yeah, and I think that's similar to me. So, like, for what I would say is, I think that the comfort and power, obviously, I think there's two that we can just, like, I think every generation, that's what you want to improve on. That's like one of the biggest things for VR is the power's got to be better and it's got to be more comfortable. Lighter is, it depends on the lightness, right? Like, I mean, the Quest 2 and Quest 3 are very much the same in terms of weight, but the way they're balanced and such, it feels lighter in a way, and it's just well balanced. So it doesn't have to be super light. It just needs to be more comfortable. And I think with the comfort, with the soft strap in particular, I feel like they need to push the hot soft strap. I understand why you want a soft strap in the box, because you think about all of the stuff that you can do in VR. A soft strap is technically meant to be a bit better when it comes to fitness, potentially, because it's a lighter strap. I know with the front heaviness, it doesn't really work like that, but technically on paper it should be. The soft strap's important because, like, for comfort when you're watching a movie and you can lay back and you can have your head rested at the back, or if you're on planes and such, and it's fine, rather than having like a big bulky plastic part behind you which stops your head from going backwards properly.
We get resting. It, Dan. They need to have a stock strap. All right.
I'm just saying that a lot of people bash on the soft strap, and I feel like it's important, right? But yeah, so the comfort and power, obviously. But the two main things that I want is I want like games. Like they got to encourage developers, and they got to do some game heavy stuff, like bring back the game showcase. You know,
you're gonna be worried, Dan. You must be worried.
Performance and OS stability is the next thing as well. That's my last thing, is performance and OS stability. I think too many times, too many crashes, too many bugs in just the day-to-day use. They have flashy features and such, which is great, don't get me wrong. And some of the updates and some of the V74, V73, V72, every time they put out, it's fun. Some updates are really fun, but still too many bugs, still too many like crashes, and nothing to do with the actual app itself. Sometimes the app does that, and I know that's not entirely their fault. It's more like the developers on that one. But in terms of just in general, like using the system, like if I have my system on standby for about a week and I haven't touched it, if I go back into it, everything's all over the place, and I just need to turn it off and turn it on just to reset everything. And even then it still doesn't work, and then I have to do it one more time and then it works. So performance and OS stability, I think that's a big one as well.
I definitely reboot every time I go to play.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that's what we want. Okay, and obviously there might be some more stuff that everyone else would want on the Quest, but I think that's fairly fair. I think we're mostly on the same page there. Let's say, what do we think Meta really care about on the Quest 4? What do they really want? Samson, what do you think Meta really wants the Quest 4?
I think they want it to be cheap, and they want it to be more comfortable than it is now.
Yeah, cheap makes sense. I guess they want to get into more hands.
Or same price. They need to hit. They want to hit that 300 price point, but they also want it to be improved, right? So
yeah, it's a sweet spot for sure. Yeah. But comfort also. You said they're probably focusing most on comfort. So just because of comfort's one of the main
just
pillars,
based
kind of
on
thing.
kind of like how it got smaller, the weight distribution you mentioned. That's all involved in comfort.
Yeah, that's fair. I think what Meta care most about is a Horizon Worlds first approach. I actually wouldn't be surprised. This might be far fetched, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to build it where like you start in Horizon Worlds as soon as you load, and all of your apps are basically portals to the games. So you have like portals everywhere, and I know.
People wouldn't buy them.
I'm just saying, I could see them pushing Horizon Worlds so much that you start in the Horizon Worlds interface, and it's not like you start off and there's people around you, but you start off in your own little world, and you can walk out to the world and you can choose your apps. Kind of similar to how it is now, but you actually are in just Horizon Worlds at all times.
So you think it would just but I feel like that just is completely changing the OS. It's starting you like within a game.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Maybe that's a far-fetched approach, but I wouldn't be surprised of like how baked it is what I'm trying to say is like as much as it is already. And I think the second thing that they would really care about is because of the social aspect, and you've already mentioned this part. I think eye tracking will 100% come to all of the models of the Quest, so Quest 4, Quest 4S, and I also think they'll focus on face tracking too, or like at least mouth tracking. I think they'll probably put something like 2 inner cameras inside, or infrared or something like that that will look at your mouth. And I think they'll want to do it for both headsets as well, because I think they really care about social VR. And I think we're saying eye tracking and face tracking just because face maybe less so, but eye tracking for sure more because of the games and such and what they can do. And developers probably can do that. But I think they're more thinking about social VR and how important it is for like VR chat. Or they don't really care. It's more Horizon Worlds, right? To make
it's
that
very
one
big
better.
for that,
Yeah. So what they'll probably do on the Quest 4 is they'll do the 4 will have pancake lenses again. The Quest 4S will probably have the same Fresnel and lenses. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, or something like that. So yeah, Fresnel's how you like if you were to phonetically say it, shall we say? But I think it's Fresnel or Fresnel.
It's not like Fresnel. I trust me on that one.
Probably not Fresnel. Okay, so we've got like a little bit of a whiteboard here. Okay, we've got what we want, which was like comfort, power, games, performance, Samson eye tracking, face tracking, comfort, all that stuff. We've got they want with cheap comfort, face tracking, care about social apps, bake that. Okay, now let's put the CEO hats on. What do you think what do you think they should care about? Like, what do you think the best direction Quest 4 should go into? And I'll let you start.
Well, so yeah, I put on my CEO hat, like Dan said.
Yeah.
So here at Meta, we've definitely had our ups and downs over the years, and in order to make this year an up year, we've gone ahead and made some serious changes for the Quest 4. And these changes all begin with the consumer, or as the less business-like folk like to call them, people. And with that, we will be catering certain content and advertisements for that content to very specific target markets. And those will be the sports fan, the gaming fan, and really just people reconnecting with everybody, which I assure you is a target market. And if we're able to capitalize on these markets, I believe that not only will our headset sales to the moon, not only will they increase, but our usage rates will go up as well. So this year, Dan, you'll be able to watch the NBA, MLB, EPL, NFL, and NHL games with your friends from the best seats in the house. We'll be having TV spot ads during these games to show viewers how much better the experience is in VR than on TV or even at the game. You know, emphasizing the courtsideness with the things you can see, the stats you got going there, etc. Yep. Now, with face and eye tracking coming to Quest 4, we really want to emphasize how these enhance the social interactions and offer more presence than video or audio with a person, with a loved one. So, our first ad, we'll get 2 of them for this one. We're going to show a parent who's clearly working from afar, you know, he's away from family. It's very heart-wrenching. And they need to be interacting with their family, and they are doing this in VR. And they'll be utilizing the face and eye tracking to emphasize the presence that they are feeling. And the second ad will be some old friends, much like how me and my old friend Kai reconnected in VR chat during the pandemic. Well, we're going to emphasize old friends coming and reconnecting, playing games like they used to way back in the day when they were children. We want to really connect with people because we're people here at Meta. I promise you, we're real people. And then we're going to be showing off a brand new AAA VR game. And this is going to be advertised at all the gaming shows. And Dan, we're going to be finally, people have given us so much crap. We're finally supporting the indie dev by offering 10 $1 million giveaways. I don't know. I didn't write this one down. I just came up with it on the spot. Somehow we will be supporting indie developers. More to come.
You know what, Dan? I think that was fantastic. I love the way you approached this question. I did not approach it as like, let's do a PR press release or anything like that. But I love that you did. Very good.
I'm aware.
Yeah, very good. I like it seems like the biggest thing that you were doing there is appealing to like kids, i.e. parents, and then also appealing to the sports fans more than anything in this release.
I tried to think of all the people I know that don't use VR and what might get them to be like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm sold. I'll try. I want that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think that's actually, with all this being said, I think you're on the right page, to be honest, because I think a lot of their marketing is more directed to people who aren't in VR yet. And also it's funny because the store is kind of marketing to people who don't have whatever games. So it shows what they don't own rather than what the biggest stuff is. So I think you may have nailed it.
I didn't come back to this. The store, that's for sure.
We'll come back to this next year when they announce the Quest 4 and see what happens. There'll be the Connect September next year in 2026. 2026 next year? God damn it.
Well, yeah. But it's only February, Dan.
It is. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. Great. No, that was really good. So I didn't do mine as a press release, so it sounds as disappointing, but I'm just going to say what I think if I was just working at Meta and what I would probably take it into, or, you know, from their ideas and what's realistic. So I think if Horizon is the approach, then if you take like Tyler's comment that we said at the start of the show and SNK God, okay, we've now said your name 3 different ways. If they take that you know, those and encourage Horizon worlds that are related to the best titles, I think that's great. But I think better yet, I think they just simply need to double down on it in terms of Horizon worlds and such. Like they just need to double down on it, because I think right now, as we spoke about last week, it's very half-baked, and that's why it's awful. And same with a lot of the stuff that they do in terms of like the store as well. It's quite half-baked in terms of efforts they've put in. So here's what I'm pitching. They need a fluid new OS that is built with the VR enthusiast in mind, not the consumer, the VR enthusiast.
That's crazy.
Speak to that. And I'll take it. I'll put my CEO hat on. So this includes the store. So the store needs to be this. And what I'm doing is like, think about the selling points of Quest. And you kind of alluded to this in yours as well. Selling points of Quest is gaming, consuming content, which is like movies and sports and such. Fitness is another big selling point, and productivity, which is more of like the small one, but like, because it needs to be more developed. But they're like the four biggest things, I would say. So I think they should build the OS around those four pillars. So let's start with gaming. Gaming, celebrate your big games, your AAA ones, the Batmans, your Metros, your Assassin's Creeds, your Medal of Honors. I've not seen that anywhere near the store anymore. No one knows that exists. Fantastic game. Celebrate it. And then showcase your best indie titles. Walkabout Mini Golf, Max Mustard, Underdogs, Golf Plus, to just name a few. Have a good showcase. Have yearly awards to push these titles, like I mentioned with Apple. Create a robust achievement system for players as well.
The recap, the meta recap that they got rid of.
Exactly.
Bring that back.
Bring back the meta recap. Do stuff for the players. Like, you got rid of the achievement stuff and you got rid of the meta recap. And this is like so tap in easy stuff to kind of engage the consumer, or shall I say the VR enthusiast in this case and such. The Xbox did an amazing thing back in like the 360 days. They did like the summer arcade and such, where they'll have like indie titles and kind of showcases of them. And it got a lot of people into indie titles at the time, and they need to do something like that. They need to push. And I'm not saying, just like use an algorithm and AI and just kind of push some random stuff. Like, go in and curate the content and see what's performing well, and see what apps actually, align with your values of what you want this headset to be, and push them. I'm not saying stop the store for ones that don't, but I'm just saying push the ones that you think. So Max Mustard, as we've said, perfect example. This should be pushed. So that's the gaming side of things. Consuming content. I know making deals with like Netflix and Prime and all that's difficult. You'll never get Disney or Apple TV because that's all tied up with Apple right now and such. I understand that. But with your like theater app through browser, make a dedicated one that's just native on there, right? Where people can watch and potentially also hang out and watch together. Like, make your own version big screen in a way. Like, I'm surprised they've not made their own like native big screen in a way, which they could have easily done. Have the apps pre-installed, like even if it's like the Netflix app, have that web app now that they've come with the update, have it like pre-installed when you go on it. There's Netflix is already on here. It's already in there. I remember the iPhone when I first got one, and they used to have a YouTube app pre-installed, and it was so, at that time YouTube wasn't as big as it is now, but it was so handy to kind of use and such. Encourage people to use these apps, and they should have their own as well. Fitness, similar with gaming, but once again, have a dedicated area maybe in the store which kind of focuses on fitness. Like, maybe there's in the store, you've got gaming and fitness, and you go into fitness, and it's like, once again, all very much dedicated with it. Improve the connectivity of the Move app with your smartwatch. I understand with like Apple Watch and the certain like things that you can't do, that's fine. But have your own like Move app on your phone and have it connect so you can pull from some of those metrics. They're all available to you. A lot of apps do that. Like Supernatural does that with the heart rate at least. And then finally, let the user customize their like dashboard. Let's say they come into the Quest when they put it on. Right now, they come into it and there's like all this like Horizon World junk and such.
Standard.
If they really want their Quest is just a fitness machine, allow them to customize the dashboard and have fitness like stats. Like, let's say it's like on your watch in a way where you put the headset on, and then because it's fitness for you, you can see your like current calories and burn and current time and your streak gamified as such as soon as you come on. So like what they really care about. And then finally, product. Yeah. Go on.
I'm into fitness. Fitness burger in my mouth.
What are you talking about?
No, go ahead.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, productivity. The last one, productivity, very similar again with like some of the stuff that I've been saying, but have a dedicated app that encourages users. They do have the remote desktop in there. It is slightly hidden in a way with all your apps, but it is getting better. I haven't tried Horizon Workrooms for a while, but the last time I have tried it, it's not very good. Like, it feels like Horizon Workrooms and Immersed if they kind of came together and had a baby, it will be almost perfect, but still like needs some stuff, but almost. It's not far off. Okay, they just need to make some more tweaks from that. Workrooms is an okay start. It just needs to be better improved and such for like multiple monitors and customizations and such. And it's not far off. But once again, if people are into that, have it so they can maybe customize their loadout when they put on the Quest. They get productivity first and such. So
user specific,
customized, yeah. And I think that's what get people into it. You need to reduce the friction. We've talked so much about friction, and having a standalone headset already reduces a lot of friction. But still, someone actually, this completely unrelated, but not unrelated, but unrelated from my little pitch here. Someone put on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, but how like the Quest has been sitting and they've not used it for a little while, like a few days or so, and they picked it up and it was just like 15% battery or 5% battery, and it was like almost dead. So then they were like, oh, I need to charge it and such. And then, some people were like saying like, having something like a dock also would be helpful, like just to encourage people to use that and such. But yeah, I don't know, because it's an issue when it dies, but I think that's also a kind of tech thing. I've got mine behind me that's always plugged in. It's not on a dock, but it's always plugged in. So it's an interesting.
I always have a Bobo in it, so sometimes I just push a button and keep the Bobo going, and I have enough Bobos that I can like interchange them out.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But yeah, anyway, that's my pitch. It's more OS centric, and it's more like making it for the user and what they want. If it's for gaming, have it more gaming. If it's consuming content, have it fitness, etc., etc. But yeah, that's my little pitch deck. Okay, Sam, some last thing here, then we'll get into part 3. Final, maybe a quicker thing here. Are we worried in the end of the day to see what's coming in the Quest 4 in terms of what direction it takes or not?
Dan, it's too early to tell, but I am feeling tempted.
Tempted. I like the name. I like the word. Yeah. I like the word tempted. I think worried is a strong word. I think I'm worried more that they will get more cases like Toast Interactive, and maybe that will discourage developers. Obviously, we keep seeing it. I think in a way they're just crying out for a competitor to kind of push them. I think Meta themselves think Apple Vision Pro is their competitor, but in reality, it's really not. And
I don't know what they're doing. They used to have such a focus on work and like work from home and all that. I feel like that stuff hasn't been touched on in any capacity whatsoever. And now it's just Horizon and free to play and like children, and no longer interested in the adults working or games or anything like that.
What's the direction? What's the focus?
Who knows? Hold on. Let me put my
CEO hat on.
My CEO hat
put
on.
It back on.
Hey, Buzz, what the fuck we doing? Nah, he has no idea either. Nobody knows around here.
Look, I don't want to end this on there. Like, it kind of ties in perfectly. Like, we're big fans of the Quest 3, of course. We've got this podcast and we love it. Don't get me wrong. Meta have made some great decisions. They made great decisions on price, the form factor. They've done amazing things. They've pushed massive titles like Batman, and which have absolutely knocked it out of the park. Don't get me wrong. But just as we've just said here, I think they just need to focus on what the Quest will be. Like, if that's social VR and Horizon Worlds, fair enough. But they've got to double down on it and create like really good experiences.
I disagree.
These half-baked experiences, these half-baked attempts are just not going to do any good. Like, if you're going to push Horizon Worlds, make it good,
I mean, yeah, but obviously anything you do it well, but Horizon Worlds, if all eggs in Horizon World basket it's no good. That's a bad basket.
Yeah, you're fine. Right. I think I just want them to focus on specific, and maybe they are in the behind the scenes, but it's unclear on our end. But anyway, that will do for part 2. Let us know what you think for what we discussed there about the direction and such. What do you think of Samson's pitch? I thought it was great. I thought it was really good.
It could be better.
Yeah, we can work on the. We can put it in AI, and I'm sure
I need slides.
We'll clean it up.
I need a slide deck.
next time. All right, that will do for part 2. Part 3, we'll get into what we've been playing and the games out this week, and then we'll wrap it up. So we'll see you then. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. And also, if you love us so much, then consider throwing us $1 at patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. Back to the show. All right, welcome back to part 3, games we've been playing and games out this week. What we've been playing is what I meant to say. Samson, what have you been playing? What have you been playing, rather?
Well, Dan, as previously mentioned, got into some Quake 3 Arena. Had a blast of a time. Can't wait to get in again. I don't really know how to put words to it because I don't even have nostalgia for Quake 3. I never played it before on the PC. But it is just so much fun to not have to think about reloading. You just run around. It automatically changes your weapon. You can change that setting, but I like to just run around, try all the different guns, and just have fun. Just have fun with some friends. Unfortunately, I did see that meta calls are capped at 8, so that's a little. I wish that was a bit higher.
I didn't realize that, but I guess you don't unless you use it often, right? Yeah. But how many people can be in the Quake 3 arena? Like in a map?
I think the biggest maps are in the low 20s, maybe 24, but the biggest I've seen is like 12. I see listed, I think. Maybe 20,
Yeah. 24. Okay, so you can't have everyone in there. I guess you could do like a team.
Yeah. Luckily, we haven't hit 8 yet, but we've gotten close.
I guess the only way you could kind of do that then is just through Discord. Have like a Discord chat whilst you're playing, basically.
Yeah, but it's only you'd have to have the Discord.
You'd have to do it extra. Yeah. Would you be able to do it on Discord on Quest? I actually don't know.
I think you can somehow do this now. I've never tried it. I
thought you'd just have to just connect on your phone and have like AirPods on or something like that whilst you're playing. So yeah, that's fair. But I think you're addicted because of the gameplay loop, because that game is phenomenal.
It's very fun. Very fun. What have you been playing? Because you've been ducking and hiding yourself. Huh?
I've actually not. I've been very much seated. I've been playing a lot of Fracked. I'm actually 50% into the game, halfway through, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's I started off and it didn't blow me away immediately because of quite fundamental issues. Like there was that you start off skiing actually, and you use your head to like tilt left and right and turn, and that wasn't working for me, and it was really buggy and such, and I died a couple of times. But then I restarted the game, and then it worked absolutely fine. But I didn't love the head turning. I like what they were trying to do because it's VR, trying to push you to do something different than just a stick. But in some cases, I was like, maybe the stick does work better than here. The head is like not the best. I like the idea of it, but the execution maybe not. And then later on in a further level, you're going down a massive hill and you're going at speed and you're trying to shoot all these people as well. It's a little bit difficult when you're like moving your head and such, but I guess that's part of the fun. It doesn't look great. Like it feels like a really old VR title in a way. Like it doesn't. Because it's like more like cel-shaded-ish kind of cartoony graphics, it's not as bad, but like it does look. I kind of liked
it. I liked it. Yeah. The aesthetic, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing that's really bad about it, before I get into what's really good about it, is that there's a lot of popping. And because it's not immersive as a Metro, it doesn't bother me as much. It's still annoying when it happens, but it doesn't bother me as much. Metro, like you're really concentrating on these, like, you know, in the dark tunnels and such, and all of a sudden you get these random pops in that kind of scare you more than the actual scares sometimes when the shades pop in. But it pops in quite a lot, and it's just because it doesn't look like it's foveated rendered at all, right? It's just more like everything just renders and when you're getting closer to it rather than that. So obviously with potential eye tracking in the future, it would be better if they ever updated it, and you know they could potentially make it better on Quest 3 anyway. Because if this came out on Quest 3, yeah, it did, didn't it? It was last September, I think it came out with Quest 3. But okay, so that's the bad part. Everything else I freaking love. It's a very simple game. It's not difficult. I'm playing it on medium. I'm not playing on hard just because hard is like one life. You're dead. You're
hard.
dead. kind of thing. So it's like a big step up from medium to hard. So I'm playing on medium, but it is fairly straightforward. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. I played it seeded for the whole time. And there's a bit of climbing into it. There's actually one level itself where you're up on the I forget what it's called. They're the vertical like trains in a way. Funicular. I can't even say it. Funicular. I can't say the word. But anyway,
Vehicular.
Yeah, something like that. I cannot pronounce that word, but anyway, you're up in the top, and it's kind of like Uncharted 2 style. If anyone's played that, when you're on a train and it's kind of like about to fall off, and you have to climb out of it and climb around, and it was really actually fun to do that. But that was like the biggest climbing part. Mostly, that's not been too climbing incentive, and plus you can climb like a dinosaur if you wanted to. It's not like you have to reach high or anything like that. And everything's right easy. It's an easy climb. It's not like playing the Climb 2 or anything like that. But anyway. Really enjoying the levels. There's only like 8 levels in total, and I'm 4 levels in. I'm on the 5th level right now, and
It's 50%.
50%, like I said. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be a super long game. I can't remember how much I've played with it because I've been kind of in and out now and again. But the levels are decently long, and they get better and better as we're going in. And the last level I actually played, it really kind of felt like GoldenEye. That's kind of the comparison I can make, where you're just kind of walking around like a really small area in a way. There might be a specific task that you need to do to kind of turn on something, but then there's enemies everywhere and you're just kind of trying to shoot them and such. You can't jump. There's no like cover or anything apart from if you were to just obviously do it in physical, where I'm just seated, so I'm not doing that. But you're just running around, and you've got 2 guns. You've got a pistol, which is just unlimited ammo. You'll have to reload. It's manual reload, but it's really straightforward. The clip's already there for you. You just need to put it in and then move
Very
it up.
arcadey.
Yeah, very arcadey, and it's just fun to do. And then you've got the machine gun or the submachine gun, where same thing, clip in and pull it, but that has bullets, but that has ammunition that runs out, but there's so much ammunition everywhere, like it's not like difficult to find. And then as you get further into the game, there's also these special guns that you can kind of pick up, which have like expiration basically on the ammunition. So a magnum, which is really cool. So you get this magnum and as a red laser sight, and it can shoot quite far. Which is very different to like magnums that you try in other games, but it's basically one-shot kill.
Sniper.
In a way, yeah, it's like one-shot kill, but then you get basically the rounds. So I think there's like 8 bullets in there. As soon as the 8 bullets finish, the gun just disappears from your hand, like it fades away. So you can pick up these like special guns. There's another one where it's like a grenade launcher. That's another special gun. There's another one where it's like a little mini like sawed-off shotgun in a way. So you can find these like special guns which can help you get through quicker. But obviously you use a machine gun mostly, and then it's just because of the arcade reloading. It's really fast to do, and you get really into it. And what I like with the comparison to GoldenEye, I was like, this would be a really fun game. And I'm not one to play too much multiplayer, but this will be a really fun game to have in multiplayer if they had like just an arena shooter, kind of like Quake 3 Arena in a way, with these like gun physics. It would be so much fun. Maybe they add a jump button and something like that. But you can, just run around these kind of arenas that they've kind of created, because they've got some good looking, like a good level design, shall we say. And then you could have like a bit of a 2v2 or a 4v4 or something like that. Would be really fun. The comparisons of GoldenEye just get more and more as I'm getting into it. The story is like fairly kind of basic. Basically, there's a kind of an infection, it looks like, on some of these the workers and such, and you're kind of trying to figure out how to get rid of the infection and such, and you kind of make a bomb, and then you try and, I don't know what you're meant to blow up because I'm not at that level, but I've made the bomb at least, and we're at that stage. But I can't remember how much it was on sale, to be honest. I don't think it was too much. I think it was like $10 USD or something like that. It's well worth $10. It's really fun to play. It's a really easy kind of game and light kind of shooter. And you don't have to think too much about it. It's not trying to do anything flashy or anything like that. It kind of feels like a very old gameplay loop, like GoldenEye, like a a Gears of War in a way, where like you get into an area and then all of a sudden you get so many enemies and you have to clear all the enemies and then you go to the next area, that kind of thing. Very Gears of War in that kind of esque, but not even just Gears of War. Like a lot of those games back in those days had that kind of loop, right? And that's what this game has as well. So I think it's very good in terms of just a very fun game. It's not like, oh, this is a blow your socks off, you've got to try it, but I would say it's a really solid 7 out of 10 from what half of what I've played. It just feels a bit dated. Like I kind of wish that obviously they've already just ported it, but it feels, without playing the PlayStation 1 version, PSVR 1 version, it feels like the port is just the port. It just works, and it works well. Don't get me wrong. Look at something like Bulletstorm, which didn't port well, at least originally. Obviously, that's coming from a flat screen. It's a little bit different, but it looks like they could have optimized it for the Quest 3 a lot more. But I feel like maybe they've just kind of put it out and they've left it pretty much. And kind of, they could have optimized it for Quest 3 and they could have done a bit of bug fixes and polished it up a little bit. And it would be really, really fun. But instead, they've just put it out, and that's fine. For $10 on sale, amazing. Had a great time. So that's fine.
According to howlongtobeat.com, it is 3.5 hours about.
Yeah, so it's not a long game either, but it's just a fun time. Like I said, the first level, I was like, it's okay or whatever. But then as you get more and more into it and get used to the physics, and you get the submachine gun, and then you get more enemies to shoot and such, it gets more fun. It's a very simple game, but it's just fun. It kind of feels like in a way like if a Fracked 2 came out, which was maybe 6-7 hours long, and they kind of expanded this a little bit, it will be really, really fun. Maybe some variety of enemy types. They only have 3 enemy types, and two of them you only see now and again. Like it's just one enemy type most of the time. So a little bit of variety in that would be nice. But overall, I'm just taking it on surface level, and it's just a fun game. So I would recommend, especially in the sale right now. I don't know when the sale ends, if it's the end of the month or something, but I would pick this one up if you haven't already.
Very well. Dan, I forgot to mention that I did play Quake 3 this time with my B haptics on, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, did you get lots of bullets in the chest and such?
Every time you shoot, the right side vibrates. It's great.
Fair play. You got the arms?
I do, but I didn't play with them on this for that.
Oh, I see. But your right side of your
yeah.
thing vibrates. Oh, cool. That's really fun. I did
and
actually
then just Walkabout.
You obviously. Sorry, I was just about to say I did actually also play a little bit of Warchasm, which is from good friend Dave, not Patreon Dave, but developer Dave. Shall we just
developer Dave?
He just put out a tweet that he kind of is just like an early access game in a way, and he's just like making it as like a hobby project. And he said he just put leaderboards in it, or at least on the like a build. I thought it would be in the actual build, but it seems like it's not. So I need to just ask him. But I realized quickly that I should not play this with a bad arm, because even though you're like kind of seated on a like runaway mine train in a way, there's a lot of moving going on and such. But I haven't played that for ages, but it's really fun one, to be honest. It's Warchasm. It's spelled exactly how you think it's spelled. And then you played Walkabout. So is that more the Walkabout we played together?
Yeah, it's more of the Walkabout we played together. I just have written it down there.
Yeah, fair
Good
enough.
Times.
All right, Samson, let's get into the games out this week. There's only one. I'm going to let you go, because I know you're great at talking about these. So
thank you. Well, Dan, this week Selena Mind at Large comes out, where you can dive right into this mind-bending adventure. Go on a magical journey through the mind of the young girl Selena and wrap your mind tricky puzzles. Experience a heartfelt tale about the shadows of the mind. The young girl Selena seeks the help of a brave hero to travel into her mind and restore her memories. Are you prepared to push back against the sinister Aniles and her shadow? Turn the world on its head in a series of physics-based puzzles using the gravity-defying Escher teleport. Embark on a heartwarming journey alongside Selena across otherworldly spaces of impossible architecture. Follow a moving tale about the shadows in our mind through fully animated character interactions. Influenced by the writings of Carl Gustav Jung, Selena, Mind at Large, is offering a unique and imaginative perspective on the mind of a child. Step into the shoes of a brave and clever hero in this narrative puzzle adventure. Guide the magic waters of Selena's mind through tricky physics-based puzzles to protect her memories from looming shadows, and immerse yourself in a bittersweet tale about the courage that will captivate your heart and mind. Selena, Mind at Large.
That was beautiful.
Bits of that kind of sounded like it might be an English second language situation. I'm not sure.
Potentially. I actually put that whole thing in. I was meant to edit it for you so it's smaller, but I didn't. So you just read the whole thing, which is
there.
Great.
We go.
This actually looks pretty good, to be honest with you. Don't love the name of it, but if sometimes when a game's not got the best name, I'm sometimes not as interested in. It has nothing to do with the game, but it actually looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit too puzzled out now, to be honest. I've played a lot of puzzles recently, and I'm still playing Celeste, and I think that's enough puzzling for me. Even though it's not technically like Puzzler, but it is kind of, it feels like I'm using my brain quite a lot. So I'm gonna give this one a miss, at least for now. Maybe if it does well, maybe in a sale in the future or something like that. But it does actually look good. It looks very polished from the trailer and the screenshots, but time will tell, when it comes out. What about you, Samson? What do you think of this? It's a hard pause from
think
Samson.
that it could be a mind-bending adventure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's a mind-bending adventure for me, though.
Yeah. It seems it potentially could get your mind all over the place when you're, because it looks like a labyrinth in a way. So you have to teleport to the sides of the walls, and the room flips and such like that. So I feel like it could be quite a tough one. But yeah, it might be a good one as well. It might be a really good one for the puzzle makers, puzzle enjoyers out there. Samson, that is our show. That is the rest. That is the end of LTO 174. You got anything else to share, or you just
that's it?
You got your dog there. You're fine. You're happy.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, when are you going to put Ruby in VR? That's the question. You are one to show people VR, and you've got a new person in the house.
Did you just call my dog a person?
I did call your dog a person, yes. Just treated as a person.
I'm a dog person, but
you're a dog person.
You're taking that a bit too literally.
That's fair enough. All right, perfect. That'll do for this show. Samson, as always, you have been Samson.
Yeah, at this time I have been. You caught me.
Yeah, you have been Samson. I've been Dan, and we'll see you next week.